So even though we become tired of Jada Smith and her Will Smith embarrassment tour, she's used Pac's name to boost these book sales quite a bit, right? But she's allegedly been caught in a few lies regarding that marriage statement that she made of him at Rikers. Let's go to Popcorn Planet for them to review the TikToker's video of it.
Yeah, so just for full credit, this is from TikToker jesstheprequeldoesmiami. So yeah, let's play this.
I cannot handle these lies anymore. Jada is currently on her Pay Attention to Me tour, and she is making all these wild claims, including...
I kind of like how she terms the tour. Jada's on her Pay Attention to Me tour. I quite like that bit.
That Tupac proposed to her while he was at Rikers. Really? The math isn't mathing, so let's take a look. Tupac was convicted of sexual assault charges on February 8th, 1995. From there, he was sent to Rikers Prison, only to be transferred less than a month later to Clinton Correctional Facility. And she specifically said she went to see him. This was not on the phone.
But when I go to see him in Rikers, probably one of the more painful parts, seeing him there, the condition that he was in, and having to leave him there.
Cool. So prior to going into Rikers, Tupac already had a girlfriend named Keisha. He proposed to Keisha, her words, in a September 2011 interview. He proposed to Keisha before he even went into prison. They were already engaged. They got married in April. And in the time that he got sentenced and was taken to prison, Keisha actually moved closer to be by him and be by the prison and saw him on a near daily basis.
When he asked me to get married, he was at Rikers.
So you're telling me that in the 3 to 4 week window that he was at Rikers, engaged to another woman who had moved closer to the prison and was there almost every day, Tupac proposed to Jada. But hey, Jess, you might be saying to yourself, Tupac wasn't known to be a one-woman man. He was no angel. Fair enough. Let's see where Jada was during February of 1995, which was, as we've already established, the only time she would have been able to see Tupac at Rikers since he was only there for less than a month. See, Jada had already met Will Smith in 1994 on the set of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, but Will Smith was married, and so nothing happened between them. But in February of 1995, Will Smith was served divorce papers by his wife. 5 days later, on February 19th, Will called Jada and said, "Are you single?" And she said, "Yep." Will said, "We're together now." Jada said, "Cool." And she immediately flew to LA. She flew so immediately that...
So what I thought when I saw this was, that's why I said allegedly in the beginning. Could be she lying. I didn't do all this digging that homegirl did, so I'm going off her word. But it could be that she just mixed up the times and the places. You know how you tell a story, it'd be like, oh, it was here, and da-da-da, and it'd be wrong, you know what I'm saying? But it actually happened, but you know. So listen to what Tupac's cousin had to say about the whole marriage thing. And this was an interview from about 3 months ago with the Art of Dialogue. His cousin name is William Lesane.
From your knowledge, from your cousin, conversating with him, did Tupac ever express to you that him and Jada was intimately involved?
No.
Okay.
But he loved her. I know that. He never said they had sex, but he never said they didn't have sex.
Okay.
So they were intimate. He never said they were or weren't. I didn't know whether they were or weren't. That wasn't part of the conversation. The part of the conversation with Tupac and I was about him wanting to marry Jada while he was in prison.
So Tupac told you that he wanted to marry Jada Pinkett while he was in prison?
Yeah, very clearly. He was clear about that.
Right.
He wanted to marry Jada. He used to tell me all the time. When I was going to visit him, he was putting in motion the process to marry Jada.
Okay.
That's what he was telling me. I don't know what Jada was saying. I don't know what she thinks about that. This is what he said to me.
Absolutely.
This is what I heard from him.
Right.
While I was sitting in that visiting room with Clinton Danamora.
Right.
That's what he was saying to me.
So what he said there, he solidified that Tupac said he wanted to marry Jada, right? But what he said at the end was that he was at Clinton Danamora. He said that's where he told me that at. And Clinton Danamora, right, as you can see, is Clinton Correctional Facility. So what I think happened when Jada was telling the story is that the times and the places got mixed up. Like she was telling it like, oh, I went to visit him here, and maybe she was mixing up Rikers with Clinton Correctional Facility. But it still is mixed information in here because the young lady said in the beginning that Tupac married Keisha before he went to Rikers, or around that time where he went to Rikers, and Keisha was going to see him then. So, and then he was transferred to Clinton Correctional Facility after that. So I'm wondering, is like, was he still married to Keisha when he, was talking about proposing to Jada or whatever? I don't know. I didn't do all the digging and all as far as all of that. But one thing I would say is that it sounds like Jada, it's some truth to Tupac wanting to marry her for sure, or he proposed to her at some point. Is just that I discussed this in the last video, in one of the last videos I did about Jada when she posted something about Tupac disrespecting Will once again. I discussed that it probably was the timing of him being in jail that had him marinating on the thoughts of marrying Jada. But then when he got out of jail, that didn't materialize. And like I say, I don't know if that was because of his marriage already to the young lady named Keisha, or when they divorced, or whatever. Like I said, I didn't dig that deep into all of this. I'm not an investigational detective. You know what I'm saying? I know I messed up a couple words there, but whatever. Early in the morning, I ain't got time to be messing with y'all. Look, I don't know exactly if Jada is purposely lying, but I do know she putting a lot of sauce on this. You understand what I'm saying? She milking the Tupac train and putting a lot of sauce on this. And just like in the video I did before talking about this, TK Kirkland brings up the fact that, or from his perspective, he like, man, Tupac wouldn't have really been messing with her like that. Like, he was a ladies' man. The ladies think all the ladies that he kicked it with was thinking that he was on their head like that, but he was a ladies' man. And I think this is where Jada is with it. Like, she putting a lot of sauce on it. She know for the business purposes of it, as far as she got to make some money. And what's more salacious than to keep bringing up Tupac's name, especially all this time where you would have thought that before we knew that her and Will were secretly separated. It's like, wow, what, you giving the people something to talk about. You know what you're doing because you keep making Will look stupid, and you poking the bear by keep bringing up Tupac, right? Not only is he one of the biggest rappers in all of the history of rap, but it clearly bothers Will Smith, that this guy was this close to you. And he says that at a Breakfast Club interview. So it's like, you know what you're doing by constantly bringing up his name. And even though we know y'all have been separated for some time now, you still know what you're doing by still publicly emasculating this man and keep on bringing Tupac's name up.
You want to mess with some dude that's your son's friend, as trifling as that may seem in people's eyes, that's your business. You want to break up with your husband and all of this stuff, that's your business. But this public emasculation needs to stop. Jada, all you're doing is elevating the level of vitriol coming your way, because it don't matter what you say. There's nothing you can say to a man to justify what you have done to Will Smith. Every time I see Jada's Pinkett Smith talk about Will Smith, I cringe. We kings. We kings. We ain't here to be treated like that. You're queens and you shouldn't be treated like that either, and I get that. Tell me anywhere, biblically, scripture-wise, in any scripture, where it encourages you to publicize your personal business for profit when it negatively affects your spouse.
So you milking the gravy train, or whatever you want to put it, trying to get wring every little cent out of Tupac's name, while disrespecting Will, and it just makes Will look worse by the minute. But it's that hard realization to where you just realize this woman she never liked you in the first place. Popcorn Entertainment. I'm gonna play this little montage of them showing how much she did not like, that Will wasn't her first choice.
Just married, you're gonna watch the relationship of these two through the years. and just how I don't know, she just doesn't seem that into him. You know what I mean? Like she's just not that into you. She's constantly pushing him away. And then you realize it's all gonna get fake soon. It just makes me sad. He's like in there trying to like, what is this emasculated? She constantly is doing this, man. It's just not worth it, Will. He's like so stuck doing his path. Here's the most intimate you're gonna get, and she's immediately camera. Look at that. See, like it's weird. Now they're separated, still doing this weird charade. Him kissing her bald head. All right, there we go. Now it feels off, does it not, Steph?
And of course it feels off. And we ain't saying this to be mean, Will, but you know, like I said in the last video I did on it, you participated in this too, man. You participated and you went and sat down at that red table talk and looked as silly, knowing y'all was separated. You went up there, let her cut her eyes at you, and went up there and slapped Chris Rock on the Oscar stage. You participated in making yourself look like this, and you keep participating. I understand why you don't want to separate, because you don't want to lose half of your stuff, you know, but you don't have to play this game where let's keep it a secret, but then you're going to let her make you look crazy the whole time that y'all supposedly keeping this a secret. Like, no, you know, but it is what it is, man. But I just want to say, as far as the lies and this, that, and that, it sounded like he did have some sentiments to marry her at one point. I don't know when he asked her or if he asked her, but it just maybe the time and the information of when it happened, all that may be, you know, thrown off or whatever as she remembers it. But do you think she lying? She telling the truth? I'll leave that up to y'all to figure out. But this your boy, P Camp. Let me know what you think, what you don't think. Get at your boy.